Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Universal Design Fast Facts series. Today we'll be going through series number 4, session number 4. We'll be exploring how to prepare, we'll learn how to prepare content for people who are low vision. My name is Khalil Iksher. I am the Assistive Technology Specialist and I've been with the university for about 9 years in that position. And with me today is Katie Monti. She's our ADA project coordinator and she will introduce herself the best.
Thanks, Khalil. Good morning, everybody. As he said, I'm Katie. I've been with the university almost 16 years in a few weeks, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. So we expect that by the end of this session that you will be able to define what is low vision. You will be able also to define the assistive technology that is used by people who have low vision. And the idea here is to learn how they receive information so you can prepare better for them. Oh, why it is moving? Okay, you'll be able to prepare content that is accessible by people who are low vision. So what is low vision? Low vision is a vision impairment condition in which a person, in which a person's vision cannot be fully corrected by glasses. So you can see me wearing glasses, that is, I'm not yet a low vision. The moment that these glasses, no matter how thick become, are useless, then this is a low vision, something like that. So they have some kind of characteristics. For example, they cannot perceive information or see content that is small, or if it doesn't enlarge well, in the meaning that keeps changing. Yeah, so it doesn't enlarge well. For example, sometimes you have an image, when you enlarge it, become blurred. That is trouble. Or if there is something that is low contrast, and we look at these carefully. So the question that is always there, how can we help? Next slides will explain, hopefully, all of the details. One of the first things you keep in mind when it comes to visual impairment, especially low vision or even blind, and blind actually is going to be our next session, is to use type text. Type text is a text that you can select by dragging on it, or you can highlight, you can copy, paste, you can modify sometimes. It depends on the platform. These texts are accessible by the screen reader or text-to-speech software. Even low vision normally use a magnification software that also reads. So if the text is an image, screen readers do not read image. Screen readers are software used mostly by blind or even text-to-speech. Yeah, so I received a message from one of the attendees. That's why I kept silent for a moment, and I believe there is now transcription. All right, so be careful always with text image. Text image are not accessible by text-to-speech, are not accessible by screen reader. If you enlarge them, they become blurred, so they are not accessible. That's why you keep in mind type text that you can select and edit. 2, you have to select the font that is more accessible, and there's a family called sans serif font. For example, Verdana, Arial, Helvetica, Futura. There are many of them. These are more accessible than fonts that has flair or decorative fonts or fonts that are compressed. So you avoid these kind of fonts and just focus on fonts that are from the family of sans serif. Of course, the font size is very important. So depend on the font that you select, try to maintain it 12 points or larger. Now, sometimes the font is small. If it is smaller naturally, then you probably will need to enlarge the font size. If it is naturally large, like for example, Verdana is large initially, like when you start, it is larger than any fonts, even if they have the same font size point. So if you are using Verdana, probably you should go with 13 or 14. Oh, sorry, you should make it smaller because it is already large. So you make it 13, you make it 11 or 10. Yeah. And that slides keep changing alone. I didn't even click anything. Anyways, another important aspect is the contrast. Contrast is the variation or the color variation between the foreground, or normally a text, with the background. Okay, for example, we see in the right side, the word text is high contrast, okay, and it is type text. When you enlarge it, it becomes blur. Then the next one has black on white, which is the maximum contrast. The left side, there is a low contrast, which is white over white, with some outline. So try to make sure that your foreground color and background color has a high contrast. Now, contrast cannot be measured just by looking at it. You need to use tools. So we have here a link by WebAIM. It is a tool that you can measure the high contrast versus low contrast, and it will tell you if it meets the requirements of WCEG 2.0 AA, which is the standard that is used to maintain accessibility.
And I'll just add to this, because of our branding for our university, if you are looking at using, our branding for your materials, you want to avoid the gold color. Unfortunately, it does not pass the color contrast checker just because of the hue of it, but you can certainly use our branded green color against a white background, or white fonts against our green background. So in terms of pairing the two, if you can keep it at white and our campus green, that would help ensure a high contrast.
Yes. So let's move on. Now, the technology that is used, mostly magnifier glasses, like the one you see in the screen here, or video magnifiers, sometimes called closed circuit television, CCTV, like the one that is in the maximum right side. We have many of them in our center. So what the student does, they will lay out the book or the paper, and there is a camera that is zoomed in, pointing to the book, and they can zoom in and read. There are other features where they can change the color, or they can have a line to read line by line to help them read better. The same kind of these cameras can even be pointed to the whiteboard, and it can enlarge the whiteboard. So it is very useful. There is some mobile type of them. There is also software that can be used on computers. For example, like the one that we will see today, it's called ZoomText. There's one more device that you can see down here, the CCTV handheld. Now, these days, this is not so popular. It is there in the market because it has some other features like zooming in, changing colors, and so forth. But also your cell phone, if you go to the accessibility and change magnification, for example, when I go shopping, if I click 3 times in the home button on my iPhone, it will zoom in, and then I'll be able to read the ingredients easy and quick. So these are some of the tools. Today we'll be focusing a little bit about the screen magnifier ZoomText. ZoomText is a software that we use here in campus. It is our standard magnification software. ZoomText can enlarge up to 36x times. So this is deep, really deep. Sometimes you will only see 2 or 3 letters at a time. It is a product that is acquired by Freedom Scientific. It was acquired in 2016. We own 10 licenses, 10 concurrent licenses. So we have it installed in all computers, in the library, in computer labs, in instructor computers, not offices. It is for student use, that's why. But we have only 10 concurrent licenses, and the reason for that, for about, like I've been 9 years now in campus, we never had more than 10 students who are low vision or blind. So that's why every year when we renew our contract, we look at the number of students. And so far we have like 6, 7 students who are low vision. So 10 concurrent licenses works better for our campus. However, that could change at any moment because students keep registering. Maybe this semester we don't have that much. Next semester probably we'll have 30 of them. then we'll have to immediately to increase the number of licenses. As I told you, it is available in computer labs in UNC Charlotte. If you want the software, for example, if you have a disability and you are a staff member or faculty member, you can communicate with your department or HR to buy a license for yourself. Come on. Yeah. And however, also, if you can install the software and it will work for 40 minutes for free, and that's okay for the company. If you want to gain another 40 minutes, you can restart your machine and you gain another 40 minutes. So, and believe me, 40 minutes is more than enough to test if your document is accessible or not. Mostly, I use that for accessibility. Also, the company Freedom Scientific provide free webinars and training. So let's give you a demo. It is good today. I'm working from home, actually, using my Apple computer. What's going on when I work from office, I launch ZoomText from my PC computer. So what I noticed that as a presenter, I can be able to zoom in, change colors in ZoomText, but attendees do not see these effects because they are not blind, they are not low vision. And that was very confusing for me. So I had to add some screenshots down here of how this looked like. Then it came to my mind that my Apple computer has a virtual PC on it. So let's move to that. Right there, we have our PC computer. Let me log in. All right, so this is my PC. I'm going to launch ZoomText. So I did some testing yesterday. I found that it is better to launch it from the Mac computer because you'll be able to see these effects live. Of course, it is now playing with the graphic card, changing some settings. That's why it keeps on and off. And it now zoomed in. I believe that, enabled. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but now it says that ZoomText is enabled.
ZoomText Magnifier Reader Home Manual. Talk to ZoomText.
Can you hear ZoomText speaking? Cool. So it is still starting.
Welcome to ZoomText 2021. We know you're eager to start using ZoomText. To help you get started, below is a list of the most important hot commands that every...
Okay. As you can see, ZoomText speaks as well. It is not a screen reader. And the difference, and if you attend the next workshop, you'll see what is the difference better. This reader speaks whatever that is accessible. In the meaning, it doesn't speak menus. It doesn't speak. It doesn't have shortcuts to get you list of links or list of headings. It doesn't help you move from application to another. If there is a text, it will read it if it can read it. So that's why it is not a screen reader. It is just text to speech. It's more like if you have the read and write software, which is a text to speech software, and many other that is available in the net. So I'm going to click OK here.
ZoomText Magnifier Reader Home Manual. As you to ZoomText. ZoomText updates available.
We don't want to update. Thank you. All right. All right. So you see that it is magnifying the screen. I can go in. My screen is much larger than the original one, than screen itself. From here, I can zoom in more and more. So each time I click, it will zoom me in. And I really do not want to go deeper because very soon I'll be seeing only one letter maybe, and it will be difficult to return back. I'm not low vision, so it is just difficult to maintain the size. So I'm going to just click in this icon, which will get me back to 100%.
One.
All right. So this is the icon that zooms in, out from 1 to the percentage normally the user uses. So I'm going to get back to 2%. Also, ZoomText allows multiple screens. So if I'm using multiple monitors in my office, for example, or my home, I can control that right from here. At this moment, I'm using one monitor, so I can even change how ZoomText reads for me, or how ZoomText zooms for me.
One
just
monitor has submenu.
okay. I want this to
ZoomText
be
2000.
silent, so let's
Talk to
just keep it silent.
ZoomText. Voice disable. Voice
Alright.
disabled.
All right, that is easier for me. All right, so for example, let me show you this feature right here. I can say overlay, and that will give me only this corner zoomed in. All right, I can change it to lens, and that will follow me wherever I go. It will just zoom in. I can go to other options. Let me see what we have. You see, it is just difficult now to maintain and see whatever it is there. It can show me line by line. So you see, as I go up or down. So I have, if I have a book, let's go and launch Word because we are going to use that in a moment. So let's click enter. So if I type here, hello. So it is zooming line by line. As I go up and down, it will just show line by line. All right, so let's move on. Sorry, my bad. We have to, I'm using a PC. I keep forgetting. Okay, there we go. So let's change that to a normal view. So there are many settings that the end user can use to help them see better. Now, as I told you, probably I didn't, that each of these icons is actually a button that either will enable a feature or disable it. So at this moment, we have the focus is in Windows. Now I'll move on and explain what is color. Color helps people who have color blind, or they depend on what type of low vision they have. It will change the color, for example, at this moment to negative colors. So you can see that everything at the back, whatever is white, became black. And actually it is called, it is invert brightness. They can change to invert color. Okay, and that is absolutely negative color. So let me just zoom, minimize that. You can see the logo of Windows. I'm going to launch Chrome. Where is Chrome? Right here. And believe me, there are people who see better with these kind of colors, and they come into our test center, and we have, normally they adjust the monitor to this kind of zooming.
There's such a wide variety of or types of low vision, and we've had students before that preferred taking tests and reading text with a black and fluorescent yellow background. It helped them, or even sometimes prevented headaches from having to read for a long period of time. So sometimes low vision can impact them in that way.
So you can see the colors are changed everywhere. Okay, so let's see what else there in the software. So there are variety, a benefit for you as if you want to test your document or your design, that, for example, you use these colors, you can use even black and white, and that will give you a gray color with all gray levels for your document, and you can see the contrast when it is in gray color and so forth. So this is one of them. So I'm going to turn off colors. The next one is related to pointer. You see the pointer I'm using now, probably not enough because it is already white with black lines on it. So probably we will need to enable this one, and it will change it to another color, like the one we have now is yellow, of course, as you can see, and it changed to yellow hand, and that could be visible for some people more than others. There are other type of arrows, for example, yellow with full crosshair. So that could be visible for some other people. There's even more types. I'll just show you one more extra. Red with a circle. So this is a red with a circle, right? And so forth. Okay, so the next tool I'm going to show you is related to cursor. You know, the cursor will appear when you are typing. So if I click on that, there's no effect. You will not see anything until I move to Microsoft Word. And start typing. So you see the cursor has changed to 2 blue arrows pointing where I'm typing. That helps the end user know where they are typing. There are other type of cursors. For example, green circle. Let's see how this look like. So like this kind of grid. And there is more, of course, the end users who use normally ZoomText, they can even build their own tools, their own cursor, their own pointer, or their own screen background color. I'm going to turn it off. The last tool that I will show you here, it is related to focus. Focus is actually the red box, and it is always on in my case because I normally test websites, courses, like in Canvas, PDF files that they are accessible or not accessible. And that tool helps me know where is the screen reader is reading. So at this moment, I know that the focus is actually in the cursor. If I click the enter key, the key in the keyboard, it will enable the key, the cursor. If I click the tab, it will move it to focus. If I move to, as you can see, this is the application selection. It will show me that the focus now is in Word. If I click one more, it will show me that the focus is in Chrome. If I click there and start to click type the tab key, you'll see I saw something now that people don't see normally. Probably you've never seen that, skip to main content. This was intentionally made for people who are low vision or blind to jump and skip the banner, skip the advertisement columns and things like that, and all of the links to the body, to the center. If I click tab again, it will jump to the first link in my menu, and so forth. As I move, I know where it is reading, and that helps the end user, if they are low vision, know where they are in the page. For me, sometimes the screen reader will speak something that is not visual, not visible. It helps me know if this is correct or not, and then help me convey the information for the developer to fix or correct, or if there's any changes that need to be done. So this is about the ZoomText as we have seen it. Let me go back to my slides.
And as Halil mentioned, we encourage everybody to download the 40-minute trial and play around with it. You might find it useful, even if you do not have, a need for it related to vision. It still might be useful.
So as I mentioned that we went all of these magnification. As you can see, this magnification went to up to 60 magnification level, and I had to redraw it because I wasn't able to take screenshots. But then I discovered that I can run it through my Apple computer, and it is good that we were able to show you all of these features. So they can control the windows if they have 2 windows, 2 monitors, or one, and the way to magnify, like a lens or overlay or line and so forth. And this different kind of background color, you see the one that is yellow on black. Some people prefer this color because they see better. It is for them, it is much better for their vision. I like the blue dye as well. It looks nice. Excuse me. The pointer, these are different type of pointers that can be offered. The cursor control, this is different type of controls. As you can see, I took like a photo using my cell phone. That's why you see the background color a little bit changed. And this is the focus. And as you change, it helps know where the screen reader is reading. And that actually concludes our workshop for today. Always use type text, as I mentioned, because it is accessible by screen reader and text-to-speech. Images are not accessible. Make sure you use sans serif fonts. Maintain font size of 12 points or larger. Again, it depends on the font you select. Verdana is large, probably you want to go smaller. Maintain a high contrast color between the foreground and background colors. And that concludes our workshop. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll be ready for your questions.